Over the past few days, we've talked about Muslims rioting in India over a Facebook post. And we've talked about a singer in Nigeria being sentenced to death over a song. But we can't forget the ultimate Islamic hellhole, Pakistan, where Christians are still being thrown in prison for violating Sharia blasphemy laws. Isn't it strange that Muslims in so many different countries keep misunderstanding the religion of peace and tolerance in exactly the same way? The Christian Post reports, a Christian man charged with blasphemy for making a theological argument on Facebook that Muslims deemed insulting toward the Islamic prophet Muhammad is now facing a potential death sentence for the post. The London-based Center for Legal Aid, Assistance and Settlement, an interdenominational aid agency serving persecuted Christians in Muslim-majority Pakistan, reports that Sohail Masih in the Nowshera Virken in Punjab province was arrested on August 5th. Following a protest by a crowd of enraged Muslims who heard about Masih's comment online, police officially charged Masih under Sections 295A and 295C of the Pakistani Penal Code. Section 295C prohibits the use of derogatory remarks toward Islam or Muhammad and makes violations punishable by death. It is the same charge leveled against Christian mother Asia Bibi, who was sentenced to death and spent over a decade in prison before her acquittal in 2018. So, if I were in Pakistan and I called Muhammad a child-molesting caravan robber, I would be sentenced to death, even though my words would be entirely true. This is not the first case of its kind, and several Christians like Imran Nadim, Nabil Masih, and Patras Kalim and Kamar David, who died in jail, have been charged with blasphemy for sharing or having blasphemous content either on their phone or on their computers, Class UK Director Nasir Saeed said in a statement shared with the Christian Post. It is difficult to prevent the abuse of social media platforms like WhatsApp when others can easily harass Christians and plant evidence on them, he added. An example, if someone shares blasphemous content to a Christian's page, this could result in blasphemy charges against the Christian, even if the Christian did not directly interact with the content. According to the Union of Catholic Asian News, Masih's Facebook comment stems from a discussion online about the Islamic sacrifice tradition of Eid al-Adha, which took place on July 30th to 31st. It is not possible that the blood of goats and bulls can wash away sins, Masih was quoted as writing in a post. That's actually a quote from the Bible, Hebrews 10:4. The incident of Miraj, an Islamic belief that Muhammad ascended to heaven to talk with the prophets, is based on a lie. Isra and Miraj is observed annually to honor the Islamic prophet's nighttime journey from Mecca to a faraway mosque and Muslims' belief that he ascended to heaven and was shown hell. So, a Christian said that Muhammad's so-called night journey, where he supposedly took a magic donkey ride to Jerusalem, was a lie. Why didn't Muslims simply present their evidence to him to show him that it's not a lie? Because they couldn't. The story is ridiculous and contradictory, but if you challenge the story, they can sentence you to death in Pakistan, aka the devil's armpit. A local mosque worship leader named Allama Muhammad Abdul Sattar filed a criminal report against Masih, UCA News reports. The culprit shared the post with two people. They visited my madrasa and showed it, Sattar was quoted as claiming. Masih mocked the Miraj incident and the sacrifice, which is a principle of Islam. Muslims were extremely hurt. So, two Muslims had their feelings hurt by a Facebook post. Therefore, a Christian has to die. Welcome to Islam, a religion actively defended and promoted by Western politicians, journalists, educators, and actors. The Punjab Assembly recently passed the Tahaffuzi Bunyadi Islam bill that prohibits the publication of objectionable material. It is a very worrying situation as the misuse of the blasphemy law continues to rise, and instead of taking steps to stop its misuse, the government continues to pass legislation which makes the existing law more stringent, Saeed added. More stringent. I guess they realized that their previous blasphemy laws weren't stringent enough. Way to get your priorities in order, Devil's Armpit. Class UK reports that local Christians in the area are scared. I wonder why. In the past, there has been societal backlash toward Christian communities in Pakistan after blasphemy allegations. The organization pointed to past mayhem in communities like Godhra, Sangwell Hill, and Joseph Colony, where infuriated masses attacked and burned several houses and churches, as well as killed several people. Police officers were deployed to protect the Christian community in Nowshera Verkan after the accusation against Masih, according to Class UK. Notice what Islam does to the world and to people's ability to understand right and wrong. That man criticized Muhammad on Facebook. He has to die. That man sang a song. He has to die. That man drew a cartoon. He has to die. That woman dressed the wrong way. She has to die. We're going to kill you and burn your houses and rape your women until you see the beauty of al-Islam. That's what happens in Muslim countries. People in the West are supposed to know better. We're supposed to be enlightened. We're supposed to love freedom and human rights. But as soon as someone in the West speaks out about Sharia, Muslims reply, it's racist to object to Islamic law. Stop being bigots. Stop being fearmongers. Stop spreading hate. And politicians and journalists and educators and entertainers submit faster than the victims of Sharia who are being slaughtered in Muslim countries. A reporter in the United States or Great Britain will submit to Islam to avoid being called a name. A Christian in Pakistan won't submit when a mob of jihadis surround his house and burn it down with him inside. How enlightened are we in the West when our institutions are filled almost entirely with morons and cowards? How much do we really care about freedom and human rights when our entire civilization trembles before the decrees of an illiterate 7th century Arabian warlord who won followers by promising them an eternity of deflowering virgins in paradise? There have been a lot of times in history when it was a really, really bad idea to back down. Trust me on this. Now is one of those times.